Well, I think we'll start. Welcome everybody to Highwire University. I was going to say Highwire Networks, Highwire University. Our subject matter today is customer satisfaction in multi-tiered environments. We have with us Charles Hughes. Charles is an operations and management and service delivery expert that's been in the industry for more than 20 years. He is Chief Operating Officer here at Highwire. He has many initiatives on his plate, some of which are improving program delivery, management, processes, integration, and service. And with that, I'll want to turn it over to you, Charles. And just again, I did unmute everybody. So if anybody has any questions or would like to ask Charles anything during the session, please feel free to just unmute yourself. We like the interaction, and all yours, Charles. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Abby. Hey, good evening, everybody, or afternoon, or morning, depending what time zone you're in. We did schedule these one this morning, one this evening, just to try to give people a chance to accommodate their time zones, and understanding that you guys are out there working every day, which we absolutely appreciate. As Abby indicated, I've been in the services industry ever since I got out of the Army in 1999. Started with the Williams Communications Group, Vivix, going back in the day. I'll shed some light on my age there. I've always been in the field services professional, as a supervisor, manager, director, and VP, and now as Chief Operating Officer. It's because I choose to do that. You know, sometimes people say, well, you're in the field because you have no choice. No, I do have a choice, and I choose to be in the field. I think it's the most fun, exciting, and without a doubt, the most interesting aspect of service you can do. As you well know, if it can happen, it will. And we can tell very interesting stories without having to make anything up. A little bit about Highwire and who we are. We've been around for 20 years. IT professional services, managed services, think about anything with network infrastructure. And we're built off of three main business units. We have the core network, the core piece, which is network infrastructure, think router, switch, hardware, rack and stack, structured cabling, wireless access points, the normal, typical IT professional services work. And we also have Overwatch, which is our cybersecurity division, where we monitor, detect, and react to threats on people's networks. In today's world, as we all know, that's very important out there to keep the infrastructure safe and sound. And then we also have JTM Electric, which is a company we own that does commercial and industrial high voltage electric work. So within one shop, we can deliver both the electric, the low voltage, IT support, and the cybersecurity platform. And so it gives us a really nice footprint to work with on our customers. So today we're going to talk about customer service and how it works in our environment, a multi-tiered platform, which we'll go into details later. But I also want to make sure you understand this isn't just for me to sit here and run my mouth for the next 30 minutes. By all means, if you have questions as we're going through this, if you have comments, feel free to unmute your mic and chime right in. I'd rather this be an interactive conversation than just a lecture platform. You'll even notice on the slides, there's not a lot of content, just the main bullet points and speaking points. So let's get started. First, let's level set on what is customer service, because I think everybody has slightly different thoughts and opinions on that. The thing I look at first is the excellence in execution. If you think about it, service starts with how well you do your job. As an operator, going back in the day, I try to keep things simple, and I give my team some simple guidance so they can make good decisions on a daily basis. And I give them 4 priorities. And if you follow these 4 priorities, you'll never go wrong. The most important thing in anything we do is safety. Nothing we do is for somebody getting hurt, injured, Lord forbid, killed over. The second one is quality. If you're going to do the job, do it and do it well. Third is the schedule. You got to meet the customer's expectations on when the work's to be done. Some timelines are, well, I just committed to that date, so let's get it done. Some timelines are, if it's not done by that date, it has a material impact on my business. And then the fourth thing is price. Because in my opinion, in my experience, if you're safe, doing quality work and doing it in a timely manner, the price piece will take care of itself. That's why excellence in execution is so important when it comes to customer service, because that focuses on the safety, the quality, and the schedule. It doesn't really focus so much on the price point. Second thing when you're looking at customer service is you need to have an understanding of the business need of the customer. It's one thing to get a work order that says, go to this location, deinstall the switch, install a new switch, run new cables to ports 1, 2, 4, and 8. But it's another thing to understand that that switch is how they interconnect the point of sales, or that switch is how the different offices are connected. And that switch is the core of their business. When it's up and running and working properly, they're conducting business. When it's not, they're impacting their customers. So keep in mind and understand the fact that there is a business requirement driving your trip to that location and the support you're giving to that customer. Third thing is make sure we have a good service first mindset. If you think about the approach to your job on a daily basis, you get up in the morning, you're all service professionals, we're service professionals. We're going out there to help somebody get better at what they do, help them run their business better. And if you have that service first mindset, you always understand that you're out here to help somebody out. You know, we're out here to make their day better, to make their career better. You know, if you look at the special forces and the SEALs, they talk about living in the moment and being in the moment. It's kind of what a service first mindset is. It's not nearly as serious, but you are always thinking about the fact that you are delivering a service. And quite frankly, when we give service to other people and we act as servant leaders, you know, that's the most valuable thing you can do for another person. Sometimes people mistake customer service with the actual product or device or hardware that they're selling. But I would argue that any product and any price point can be matched by somebody else. You've seen gas stations have price wars back in the day, where lowering it by a penny, by a half a penny, and another one matches it. People come up with different versions of it. So there's nothing really unique about products and pricing that somebody else can't do. But if you have that strong customer service, that's going to be a differentiator for you, because not everybody can replicate that. Because the customer service is about people, it's about relationships. And you're either able to build relationships or you're not. You can either get people to appreciate what you have going on and build that relationship, or you can't. So if you're going to run your business and hope to compete on products and pricing, that's not nearly as strong as competing with a strong customer service set. And then the fifth bullet I want to mention is understand why you are there. You're there to solve a customer's problem, not your own. And we all come to work so we can make a living, take care of our families, pay our bills, buy a new car, whatever it is we like to do with our money. But that's not why we go to site. If you have a service first mindset and you understand what your customer's business needs are, you're going to the site to solve a problem. They have an access point that's down. And when that access point's down, it means customers don't have good connectivity, they get frustrated, they can't look up a product, the store personnel can't do inventory because their scan guns won't work properly. Somebody's sitting at their desk, they can no longer connect to the internet, so now they have to go into a back door to get in, get the access, get their job done. You're there to solve the problem for them, not for yourself. And a quote by Tony Alessandro, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but in the customer service world, a big name, being on par in terms of price and quality gets you into the game, but service wins the game. And, you know, Herm Edwards said, we play to win the game. So let's make sure we have that service focus. Another aspect of making sure you deliver outstanding service is understanding the voice of the customer. I'm sure you've all heard that in different webinars, different white papers out there about the voice of the customer. Some of it sounds a little cliche, some of it's kind of cutesy, but reality is it's a very important part of the service, because we're going to send you a work order. If you're out doing a job for our customer, and you need to read the work order. You need to understand the mechanics of it, all the details. Here's the task you're going out there to do. But when you get to site, you really need to hear the customer and understand what they're asking, what they're looking for. They may not understand the mechanics of the task you're going to do, but if you listen to them, you take their feedback, it's going to help you tailor a much more pleasant experience with that customer. And that's where you differentiate yourself from being an order taker or being a valued partner. If you think about it, an order taker, you can pull up to a drive-through window at McDonald's or Burger King and they'll take your order. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard. It's important because that's what you want. I mean, that's how it works. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being an order taker. But a valued partner can not just take the order, but they can consult, they can advise, they can recommend. They can understand the difference between what the customer thinks they're going to get and what they really end up getting, because you're going to work to exceed their expectations as a valued partner. Some people say, well, as long as you meet their expectations, you're good enough. And I don't agree with that. I think our goal every time should be to exceed their expectations and do an outstanding job delivering service. It doesn't mean you have to spend a lot more money. It doesn't mean you have to do anything that's detrimental to your personal business, because you're out there running your business. But working to exceed their expectations is going to really come across when they start giving you feedback. And we strongly value feedback. I mean, that's one of the best resources you have to learn what's working, what's not. When you think about it, you probably learn more from negative feedback than you do positive feedback. Because positive feedback just tells you, hey, what you did was really good. Well, you kind of knew that. That's why you did it. But the negative feedback gives you the opportunities to improve. It's kind of like I've always told people, I've learned a lot more from my mistakes than I have my successes. And I've made a lot of mistakes, which is why I'm so smart, because you learn from that stuff. When that feedback comes in, sometimes it doesn't feel comfortable. Sometimes maybe it's not even fair because the opinion of the customer or the understanding of the customer is not quite there. But again, with the voice of the customer, keep one thing in mind. The customer may not be right, but they are always the customer. And Sam Walton will tell you, there's only one real boss in the business world, and that's the customer. And that customer can fire everybody. And a quote from Damon Richards, keep in mind, the customer doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So understand what the customer wants. Be that valued partner. Exceed their expectations. Learn from your feedback. And then always remember who the customer is. So Abby's putting up a poll question.
Yep, there
Want to talk through that, Abby?
Yeah, so I'm going to put up a few polls here and there as Charles keeps talking. So if you guys want to just vote quick, it just gives us a chance to see some of what your thoughts are as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so we like these poll questions. It's good to see what people's view on things are. Hopefully it aligns with what we think is going on in the real world. So just fill those out, but we'll continue on with the presentation. So we've talked about customer service and the different aspects of it, but there's another variable when you're working with Highwire as a trusted partner. We work through channel partners, so we don't generally go direct to a customer. What that means is you're going on our behalf, and I'm your customer. You're fulfilling a work order for me. I'm actually fulfilling a work order for one of our channel partners, who's my true customer, my real customer. But that channel partner is actually fulfilling an implementation or work order for their customer, which is the person at the location where you're actually going to do the work. And that person's actually servicing their customer. So if you think about it, you're not doing direct to a customer, you're going to a customer's customer's customer, which makes things a little bit more complicated. The principles and precepts of customer service still apply, because to that end customer, the one with the capital C, you're representing the company they engaged with. Now, sometimes when our people go out and do service, the customer understands this is a person representing Highwire Networks, or somebody representing the channel partner. We can white label service, or we can make it pass through, or we could be standalone. But either way, their interaction is with you. So recognize that customer with a capital C, understanding that there's multiple levels to there. And when there's multiple levels, you run into chances of getting caught up in the telephone game. We all know that story with communications. One person calls another person, calls another person, calls another person, and the original message gets so twisted and convoluted, nobody really knows what the original message was supposed to be. We run that risk in our multi-tiered environment as well, because the customer, big C customer, submits a request to the channel partner, says, I want you to do these 6 things, here's how I want them done, and here's how it's going to look on paper, and here's how it's going to price out. That channel partner then turns around to me and says, I need you to go out and do this, 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 and this. And they may add on things, they may take things off depending on what part of it they do. We take it, we wrap our value add proposition around it, which generally encompasses some project management, coordination, logistics, subject matter expert support, some solution design. But then we reach out to you and we say, we want you to go out to this site and do these 12 things and give us these deliverables. So you go on site with your work order and you say, hey guys, I'm here to perform this service for you. I'm going to be swapping out this switch, and I'm going to be putting a router in, and we're going to fix 2 of these access points. And the customer's going to say, oh, I thought you were here to work on my cash register. At which point you have to deconflict and understand what's really going on. So that can be problematic. And if it's the original scope was not understood, that could be fairly simple to rectify. But it could be a situation where there's additional scope that they forgot to tell somebody they wanted done. And now we have to do that. And change orders can be very complex. And Abby's putting up another poll question about what do you do when you have out of scope work. So it'd be interesting to see your thoughts there. Complexity of change orders in a multi-tiered environment is very important to understand. Now, if I tell the customer I'm going to go out and do these 4 things and it's 2 hours worth of labor on site, and it's a fixed price, that's fine. We go out there, and if there's something they need done or want done in addition to that, and it's nominal, we don't nickel and dime our customers. If you're talking a little bit here, a little bit there, we work through that. But we work through it the proper way. You may have a situation where we let you know there's a certain amount of change that can happen on site that the customer says, do it, you can do it. It's all T&M basis. We'll bill after the fact. It may be you have to call into Highwire to get approval for additional work. We may have to call our channel partner or the end customer partner to get approval for the work. But it's very important we follow that process. Otherwise, you end up delivering a great service, a great benefit, but nobody gets paid for it. So we have to manage through that. We generally give very good instructions in the work orders on how that works. And as you all indicated, if you find yourself in that situation, check the work order or call the Highwire Networks point of contact. You'll always find a point of contact in there. And quite frankly, the way we operate, if you're on site, you can't reach your point of contact, you find yourself in a situation, you need assistance, you've all got my contact information. So feel free to reach out to me directly. It's not a problem with that. Keep in mind, as we're going through this process, that customer perception can become reality. You may go out there and deliver the best service, you do it to standard, do it on time, and everything's perfect. But the customer didn't have a good feeling about the interaction. The customer had apprehension. They were uncertain about what you're going to be doing. They thought the testing should be done differently. We need to manage that perception because it can become the reality for the customer. And then that's the reality we all have to deal with. Now, I've been doing this a long time, like I said. So I understand when I get a complaint from a customer that there's 2 sides to the story. So one thing I can ensure all of you as you work with us as partners going forward, if I get a call and Teresa, you're here on the call and somebody complains about your work, you're not going to get a call from me asking you why you screwed up. You're going to get a call from me or someone on the team that says, hey, Teresa, what happened on site? We balance that out. We do manage the perception. We do try to manage the customer's perception on that. But we've all been in this long enough to know that sometimes that can be difficult. So a lot of work, a lot of effort goes into ensuring a good quality customer experience. And that's not easy. So we have some tools that we use, because what we want to do is make sure we deliver best in class service delivery. We do a really good job at that. We have a huge reach for a company our size. We do global work. We were in 181 countries last year, a little over 5,000 service professionals working on our behalf. And we've managed that to a very high level. You know, we tell our customers we're not going to be perfect. Anybody who says they are, they're deluded, but we will be consistent. A consistent feel, a consistent experience, and consistent quality. And the way we do that, first and foremost, we partner with the best customers. I learned a long time ago in this business, you don't want everybody's money. Because if you do, you're going to find people that aren't necessarily a good fit for you culturally. Doesn't mean that they're not a good customer for somebody. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. But just like when you hire people, when you decide who you're going to work with, you're looking for that culture fit. You're looking for the relationship aspect of it. It's the same thing with our customers. We have to be aligned on what's important and what we value in order to be able to work together well. And that's one of the poll questions Abby has up here for you. What's the most important in driving customer satisfaction? And understanding what's important to that customer, what's important to you, helps you make sure you're partnering with the right people. Now, I know you're all sitting there thinking there should be a fifth bubble on there that says all of the above, but that would make it too easy for you. So be interested to see what you look at customer values the most. The second thing is we leverage the best software. In order to make sure that we're easy to work with, we have good software tools out there, good platforms. We primarily engage a lot of you through the WorkMarket platform. And I see it comes back, get the job right the first time, and a positive interaction with the service professional. Both those are outstanding answers. Quite frankly, we all know the real answer is they want all four. So good job on that. By leveraging the software, we can make sure that we're easy to work with for you, easy to communicate, easy for you to get deliverables back and forth, to accept work, to get paid for your work. Make sure that interaction is smooth and seamless for you. And then we build our own tech to help bring it all together. We don't want you having to work in 3, 4, 5 different platforms in order to get a job done. So we've integrated a lot of our software on the backside. We have a tool coming out here in the next quarter that would allow one simple mobile platform to allow you to manage your work from WorkMarket directly with us, do all your deliverables, do all the payments, all right from your phone. And what's nice about that is we want, when you have a choice to do your work, I mean, it's the giggy economy, and you can go in, you can pick and choose where you want to work. We'd like to make the experience that you have with us such that you come in and you say, well, what does Highwire have for me? Because again, the way we drive consistency and quality with our customers is having consistency and quality in our technicians, which are all of you. Then as we do this work, we measure and analyze. We pride ourselves in being able to create highly repeatable processes. We can do large-scale deployments like nobody else. There's companies much, much bigger than us that come to us for these large-scale deployments because we have the systems, we have the tools, we have the processes, and we have the mindset to do it. And we do that by always critiquing everything that we've done, analyzing. When we start a project, we have one that just came in yesterday. We're going to be doing 600 sites for a government agency, and it's fairly cookie cutter throughout. We've done this work many times before for other customers. We'll still take the first 5 sites as a proof of concept to validate that all our assumptions around the project are correct, timelines are correct, design's correct, and then we'll ramp it up. That way we can make sure, again, drive that consistency and quality and expectations of the customer. Get my keys to work. So we just talked about what drives customer satisfaction and what's important to the customer. One thing I would say, you've all heard of Peter Drucker, a business and leadership guru. quality in the service or product is not what you put into it, it's what the client or customer gets out of it. I think we've all had the experience. We go in, we do a job, we feel really good. You know you did a great job. It's your best cable management job you've done. Everything you did in a half hour faster than it normally takes, and you're just feeling really good. And the customer comes up and says, "Oh, is that really what you're doing?" And they're not wowed by it. So sometimes just satisfying that customer isn't enough. If you really want to drive loyalty and have them ask for you by name, you need to exceed their expectations. And asking for a tech by name is one of those things I love and I hate. I love it when a customer calls up and says, "Hey, I need you to have somebody go out to these 10 sites. They need to do A, B, and C. And by the way, is Abby available?" I like that because Abby obviously left an impression on me. Abby did a great job. She's built some loyalty. The thing I don't like about it is, well, now I'm kind of restricted on when is Abby available to go do this work. So it makes scheduling a little bit more difficult. But you do that by exceeding their expectations. Then you got to have effective communication. I can't overemphasize how important communication with the customer is. And what you have to focus on is not just what you're saying to the customer, but what is the customer hearing? Make sure they understand what you're saying. Make sure they know what to expect. I ran field services for a large retail drug chain. I won't mention names, but look at me at LinkedIn, you'll figure out who it is pretty quick. And when I first got there, I was watching how the techs were doing their work and performing their jobs. And I started calling them ninja techs because they would go to a store, they would sneak in, do the job, and sneak out. So they had the least amount of time on site. One of the metrics they measured was working time. How long were you on site? I got rid of that metric because it was driving bad behaviors. The customers didn't even know that we were in the store. We fixed their problem, which is good, but there was no interaction. What I like to see is a tech to do when you go to a site, and by the way, if it's my site, I expect you to do this for me, is introduce yourself. I'm Charles. I'm Mike. I'm here to do this work for you. I'm gonna be back here in your back office. I'm gonna be working on this piece of equipment here. I'm gonna swap out this access point in the corner over here by the milk cooler. And then I'm gonna ask you to do a couple tests for me. While I'm doing this, you may see an alarm come up on that point of sale over there. Don't worry about it. It'll clear up. If it doesn't, you let me know. Got any questions? Great. I'm gonna go do my work. By the way, in about 20 minutes, I'm gonna need you to test something for me, but I'll give you a heads up on that. You go do your work. Then you find that person. Hey, I finished everything. It was successful. It was a great success. Everything's working properly, but I want you to test it to make sure it meets your expectations. And explain to them what you did. Spend that time. Now, we've all tried that before, and somebody looks at you and says, "I ain't got time for this. I got 10 customers in line. I appreciate it. Just go." Great. Take the cue and go. But still make that effort. Have that expectation, because that effective communication is going to really stick in their head. They're going to understand it. That's what's going to cause them to call you back. But the communication isn't just to the customer. It's communication back to us. Hey, I'm on site and I'm supposed to start this, but this guy says they got an unexpected lunch rush and he wants me to wait 30 minutes. What should I do? You know what? That makes sense. We got to have it. You're going to wait 30 minutes. We'll pay for the extra time. Don't worry about it. It's all good. So that communication is a two-way street. We got to be clear. If you don't understand what we're asking you to do, ask for clarification. It's not a problem. The other part of driving customer satisfaction is not just fulfilling the explicit tasks that are in the order. There's always implied tasks to go along with that. Now, when we engage our partners to do this work, we have a certain baseline expectation of skill sets and experience and knowledge. So we don't feel we have to write out all 256 steps that it takes to do these 10 tasks. We do have an expectation that you understand those implied tasks. You also understand things that happen on the fly, things that need to be changed. And you have some judgment and some discretion on how you react to that. You can always reach out to us to help get that done. But those implied tasks have to be done as well. If you identify a gap, I've had this happen to me before. I sent a tech to a store to swap out an IMS server, and the store personnel says, "Yep, you can go ahead and do it now." And he's observed it. He noticed that there's a truck unloading in the warehouse. And he says, but wait a minute, this is truck day, right? I said, yeah. I said, if I take down your IMS, you can't do your inventory. Oh, I didn't realize that's what that box was for. Okay, we finish your inventory, then I'll work on your IMS. Again, understand how the environment works. And then understand what constitutes a positive experience. And that goes back to the poll question we had in there. I would advocate that a positive experience is one where the customer feels comfortable in the work that you've done and with how you personally performed. Give you an example of this. The easiest way, my wife is also in the service business. So she and I are very in tune with the service atmosphere and the service environment and people that are in the service positions. If I go to a restaurant and the food's great, best Mexican, best Italian, best whatever I've ever had, but if the service is subpar, I will not go back to that restaurant. I may order takeout, but I'm not going to go back to the restaurant. But there's a lot of places we go where the food's okay. Nothing special. Got some wings, got a burger, but the service is outstanding. And we go back time and time again. So customers will bring you back. And I think you've all probably had this experience. And we hate when we go to site and we don't solve the issue. But none of our first time fix rates are 100%, right? But if you gave good service while you were there and you had a good experience, the customer's still going to feel good about it. You may still get a good satisfaction rating from doing service. So it's a very important part of it. So before we open this up for questions, finish off on two other quotes here. And this is something we live by with Donald Porter, the VP of British Airways. Customers don't expect you to be perfect. They do expect you to fix things when they go wrong. Oftentimes, it's the way you respond to adversity, which is what they remember. Let's face it, if you've done this long enough, you've made a mistake. And when you make a mistake, if you go to the customer with excuses, it's not my fault, or this should have been done differently, that just irritates people. Own it, fix it, make it right, learn from it. That's what the customers will remember. Then Dale Carnegie, again, a business and relationship guru. Dealing with people is probably the biggest problem you face, especially if you're in business. And it's also true if you're a housewife, an architect, or an engineer. Again, we are in a service business. We touch some of the most sophisticated technology that's out there. We're working with a customer right now that does drone detection. So we can differentiate between an authorized drone in a secure area versus an unauthorized drone. Really, really cool stuff. We have tools, processes. All this is great. Service is a people business. It's a relationship business. And if you know how to manage people, how to work with people, and how to develop relationships, you're always going to be successful with it. And that's what's going to help make for that positive customer experience, even in the multi-tiered environment, which can be more complex. It's probably more critical in that environment because now you're making multiple relationships. So with that, I will open it up to questions. Feel free to unmute your mic and let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
Any questions from anyone? Come on, someone needs to pick Charles' brain.
I mean, just to not leave it all in silence, the only thing I would say is most of what you guys displayed to me here today, I have already operated under for a very long time. And I started off as a cable guy, and I only got good routes if I had 100% customer satisfaction. So that kind of, it's like a switch I turn on when I'm at work on a job site, and I could do it even when I'm not at a job site. It's just, it's an attitude and an energy you bring to it. So I agree with everything you guys put in today's class.
No, I appreciate that, Richard. So when you're a cable guy, outside plant or inside plant?
I did both. I did inside plant minimally though. And it was more in like a residential setting as opposed to being in like an industrial or commercial environment. I did multi-dwelling units, so we had to run all the feeds to the apartments, drop splitters depending on where the attic access was.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that, and then build the lockbox, and usually they would have a different crew come in that ran the underground into the complexes, so we would pick it up from the tap. And then besides that, I was just a residential, commercial, triple play installer. I never did any pole to pole, but that's literally all they cared about at that time. You're talking 14 years ago. I did that for a year and a half before I started doing, IT and data cabling, structured cabling, instead, because I got tired of being in a van every day,
Yep.
dealing with people who, like you just said, they're terrible. But that kind of instilled it within me. So I appreciate the value you guys have for these things, because without it, you could go from 100 guys to 5 guys real quick.
Absolutely. And I'll share I think, an interesting story with you. When I was in the military, I had the good fortune of being stationed at Fort Ritchie, Maryland, part of ISEC CONUS, the installation command, right? So we did telecom installations across the DoD. And we had the local cable company come to our barracks one time, and they're ripping out all this illegal cable that was installed, splitting off of people that were paying for it and all this. And the guys there doing the work, and I said, I only have one question for you. He goes, what's that? I said, was it done well? He goes, what do you mean? I said, all the cable they stole, did they at least do a good job of it? He goes, yeah, it's some of the best installations I've ever seen. I said, well, at least the things they're supposed to do, they learned from that, doing it right. Needless to say, a couple of 15s got handed out to the people that did that, though. But at least they did the work well.
Yeah, there you go. You see, instead of cutting it all out, the trick out there for us was you'd get a route once a month. Everybody had to do one. It was called discos, right? So people didn't pay their bill, or you go into a lockbox and you see untagged cables. You got to try to find one in 150, and this person didn't pay their bill. And the infamous thing was, you'd go out, you'd drive across the street, you'd see guys, they'd have coffee and they'd already be filling it out because they've been to the same address 6 times in the last month or so.
Yeah.
And they, they're just writing it up as can't find, no tag in the box. So at least you had somebody who showed up and cut everything out. They didn't even want us to try to do that. They just had us put a filter on it, so it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right. So let you know that we do have a whole series of these classes going on. I'm going to let Abby tell you a little bit more about how you can get credit for this and about some upcoming classes. So Abby, I'm going to give it over to you.
Yep. Thank you very much. Just want to thank you all again for attending. You'll be getting an email probably in the next couple days. If you have not already, if you attended the first class, you're already set up as a user in our partner portal. If you did not attend the first class, you will get set up in our partner portal. You will get an email. If you're looking to get CPE credits for this class, that is how you'll do it. You'll have to answer a couple question quiz and you'll get a certification from there. So look for that. Susanna is on vacation through the end of the week and she sets these up. So that should be, if you don't see it by the end of the week, we will get you that information by the beginning of next week. Then as well, just to let you all know, our next class will be September 8th, and that one is on project methodology. Wendy Ham, our Director of Project Management, will be leading that session. And again, we'll have a 9 a.m. and a 5 p.m. Central Time zone for both of those. And hopefully we can get you guys to attend. Wendy's been in project management for quite some time, and we'll have a lot of good information for you. So if there's not any additional questions, we'll let you get on to dinner or whatever part of the country you might be in. We'll get you back some time. Any last minute questions? Anything we can help out with? Yeah, Teresa, we can definitely, I'll make a note to make sure you get a copy of the recording. Not sure why your mic's not working, but I will definitely make sure you get that. All right, well, thank you, Charles. I appreciate it. And thanks everyone so much for spending time with us this afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Everybody be safe.
Yeah, you as well.